You all loved Katie, so here's us not sober giving dating advice.
Derapy, season 3 of Derapy.
I've made this a golden rule for first dates, that even if the other person bails, I will still go. If I made plans to get coffee on a Friday or see a movie on a Saturday, I'm going. This has helped me try new things on my own. I feel less resentment if my date cancels by not putting high expectations on others. At the I reread this wrong. I agree with it.
It's okay.
I agree with what she's saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that it?
No. So she's just saying that I don't think I'd always do this because it depends on it. So she's like, if we made plans, or I guess if they made plans and they just bailed last minute, then they're still going to go and do whatever it is they initially planned.
That sounds pretty dumb to me, but...
Really? Why?
Well, okay, so... Well, yeah, okay. I should be nicer. So, it depends. So, if you want to go see the James Bond movie with somebody and they cancel, that's like 2 hours and 40 minutes.
It's true.
It would make more sense if you still want to go, but like invite somebody else.
Yeah, just
That's
going
okay.
solo.
But if it's something that they plan, like if it's something that they specifically want to do, you don't have to go do their thing.
Right.
Like if it's like a baseball game and you're not like a big baseball gal,
Oh no.
like don't do that. Why would you do that?
There wouldn't be like a shot in hell of me going to a baseball game by myself. There's not even a chance of that happening in a million years. Even if I got free tickets, I couldn't go. I would stay home. I would sell the tickets probably and do something I like.
Exactly. Okay. So like it just depends, but
Yes.
there are certain cases where you would go on your own.
And see, I kind of get this because I feel like, I don't know. I mean, as a notorious canceller of dates, I would feel really sad if the person like still went. I would feel really bad, but then again, I canceled the date, so I should feel bad anyway. But if I'm like asked to go to like dinner or something, and then I just go to dinner like by myself, like sitting in the restaurant, which is fine if you like to eat by yourself, like that's totally fine. It depends on where though. I agree. Like it depends on where.
I wouldn't go to any restaurant by myself and sit down and eat.
Not a sit down. Definitely not a
Yeah.
sit down. Where you talk to a hostess and you're like, if you ever catch
Table for one.
if you ever catch yourself, unless you're maybe in like a foreign city, like by yourself or something, then like how else are you gonna like eat and like do the whole thing?
Well, anybody that cancels a date on you in a foreign city is like,
Oh, that's a nightmare.
yeah, you gotta block them at that point.
Yeah.
That's very intense.
I mean, I kind of get this. I wonder, because when I first read this, I was thinking she meant like if they cancel on me and then they make other plans, I'll still go. If that was the situation, hell no. I am
Yeah.
absolutely not doing that. That's insane. Like, there's someone else that will value your time a lot more than that person. And if they're not in the mindset to even show up somewhere, again, as someone who cancels on dates, I promise you, it's not worth it if the person reschedules.
Is there any way to make a girl stop being uncomfortable after she rejected me? I hate my life. I flirted with this girl who works somewhere that I frequent, and now every time I go to the store and she's there, she visibly tenses up.
Oh, that sucks.
As soon as he walks in, she just
Cringes. She grabs the person next to her and is like, I'm taking my 5.
It's him. Jason, it's him. I'm taking 5.
I'm out.
I flirted with this girl who works somewhere that I frequent, and now every time I go to the store and she's there, she visibly tenses up and is uncomfortable, and it's honestly killing me inside. I wish I didn't even flirt with her. I just wish I could go back to when she was nice to me.
Wow.
I wish I didn't even flirt with her. I just wish I could go back to when she was nice to me and used to smile and talk to me, and now because I was an idiot, she doesn't even want to look at me. I wish we had more information. Because if this is
is that it?
That's it.
What did he do?
Where does she work?
Right, because if you're going to an office building, she's terrified of you.
Well, so let's just say, for example, that she is a hostess.
Yeah, and you walk in solo. I mean, to be honest, apologize, I guess. I mean, I think it depends on what he did. So
Yeah.
if he just like simply, I'm going to assume, let's just play pretend and say it's like a bar or something like that, or some sort of place where it's like normal to interact with like the employees on a big level, you know? or like a waitress or something like that. If all he did was like in a normal, nice, non-threatening way, asked her out like politely.
Like ask for a number.
Yeah, just like, hey, can I have your number? I think you're really cool. Something like normal. Okay, and she just rejected you. Maybe that's all in his head then, because, or maybe I don't really know. But if it's something normal like that, I would really either stop going there, number one.
Yeah.
Or just apologize. But if it was something very bizarre, like he full on like hit on her and said something strange.
Like a really bad pickup line.
Yeah, or just was just, I don't know, like, you know how guys can be? They'll just sometimes say things that are just unhinged and that you should never say out.
If he said something about her physical appearance, like her
Right,
body,
yeah.
then if that's a restaurant, you just have to take the L and stop going there.
Exactly.
You have to hold yourself responsible for your actions and take the L.
Yeah.
And the next time somebody asks you to go to that restaurant, you'll be reminded of that mistake that you made. And you'll not make it again.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Learn from your mistake.
Or you could just stop caring how she feels and just go anyways. Like,
right.
What do you mean? Like, it's not really your job to make somebody feel more comfortable around you. Like, you can just ignore them.
No, I agree. Again, you know, it's kind of like two things you can really do, because you can't change her mind. Like, if you freaked her out, you cannot change her mind.
If she visibly tenses up,
that's a bad
when you
sign.
see her, like, it sounds like you might have done some, like, irreparable damage. You should just move on, because, like, it sounds like every day that you show up, you're, like, reopening this wound. So, maybe just leave her alone.
Yeah, just let her live in peace, sir. My girlfriend is going to New Year's trip with her friends. She told me her friends use Tinder to find guys over there and go party with them. So she would be in a place full of Tinder dudes. I don't like this at all. Told her my feelings about this and we talked, but still I feel stuff like this is not right. I don't want to stand here on here way because, oh my gosh, I don't have any right to. Okay, he's saying he doesn't want to like be mad if he doesn't need to be. But I don't need stress like this and I hate this.
Okay, so what's he asking?
Yeah, he's saying, what should I do? Break up?
There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
You either trust your girlfriend or you don't. Like, she's not on Tinder. Her
Right.
friends are on Tinder, and that's how they find parties to go to.
I guess, which that to me is also not the best idea ever. I mean, if you're in a foreign city and stuff, or a different city, it is, if you're wanting to just go to a party, I would be very like cautious, like maybe go to a bar or something. Don't go to some random person's house.
Random Tinder guy party
Yeah,
in a different city.
very bad idea.
Maybe if you really want to be a sly guy about it, I would just make it more about like a safety concern,
Right.
as opposed to you being worried about unfaithfulness or
It
whatever.
does not seem like her safety is the concern. It seems like but it's a valid thing for a boyfriend to be concerned about.
Yeah.
But I don't think you should just break up with someone for wanting to go to a party. That's a bit much. I mean, if she's in the city and a lot of her friends are single. I mean, I have friends that are in relationships and that's fine, but whenever me and my like single friends go out, we obviously are going to want to talk to guys. Like, obviously, we're single, duh. And so it's like they're going to want to do that. If you have a problem with her just being in the vicinity of like a single man or something, yeah, you've got some sort of trust issues.
Sounds like a you problem.
And it does sound like a you problem. It may be her. She may have given him reason at some point to be like distrustful, but more than likely
there might be some details that he's leaving out. Like,
Yeah.
she could be sending him like pictures of the guys or like pictures of the places, and like she might be like on her Snapchat story, like
Right.
taking shots with like random dudes, and like, yeah, that's concerning for like any man.
Yeah, you're gonna be jealous. Like,
Yeah.
and I totally get that. But at the same time, it's like, let your girlfriend go and have fun. Just because you're dating her doesn't mean she can't still enjoy her youth and like go out and have fun.
My
You should just
girlfriend,
trust her.
she went on this week-long trip to Puerto Rico, and she was posting like all types of things on like Snapchat that would make anybody like concerned, like generally, but I trust her.
Right.
So I didn't lose any sleep about it. I had every good reason to think that something might be happening, but because I know her, like, I don't care. I'm just like, hey, just make sure you're being safe.
Yeah, of course.
I don't really care. So yeah, it's definitely his problem.
Yeah.
So I'm a high schooler, and there is a girl I think is hot at school. We haven't met yet, though, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't even know who I am. She is in one of my classes, but she sits in the opposite corner of the room, and I don't really see her the rest of the day. I could probably quick add her on Snap, but I don't know if I should ask her for it. If I do quick add her on Snap, I don't even know if she will add me back or will snap back. I wouldn't even know it's a snapper.
Oh my gosh.
What should I do?
He's fighting for his life.
I'm fighting for my life. Yo, killing me with this. I can't help. Robert.
Let's break this down. So, only has one class with a girl. She sits in the opposite corner of the room.
And he's straight staring.
And like the quick add on Snap thing.
No.
You should definitely talk to her before you add her.
Well, you don't need to, anytime someone's ever, because that's happened to me like a handful of times. Like, I guess someone saw my name or something and they just went, oh, all right, let's go. And then like the hello or the whatever, sometimes it's a picture too. It's like, I'm sorry, do we know each other? What are you doing? You know? Also, I don't know what the kids are doing. Obviously, we were around for Snapchat, duh.
Yeah, we know about Snapchat.
We know about Snapchat, but I think it's really like a big red flag if a guy just asks for your Snapchat because it's a level of separation, if that makes sense. Like
I find it very odd that we still live in a day and age. It makes me uncomfortable when I talk to people that are even my age that are adding girls on Snap or following them on Instagram. It's like, can we just ask them for their number?
Right.
Like, it's so weird.
It's very, like, not personal whenever you ask for some other form of contact. You know what I mean?
So here's the angle that I would approach it from. Because you're in class together, if you see her taking notes in class, just be like, hey, you look like a very studious person. Don't say that.
You look very smart.
I see that pen working in class. I know you've got plenty notes. Just like be normal. Ask her something school related so you can get her number.
Yeah.
Because if she is like, unless she's like a jerk, she's not going to be like, no, you can't have my number. I'm not going to share my notes with you. So
Right.
if you notice that she's taking notes, say, hey, I see you taking notes every day. In case I'm ever out, can I have your number so you can send them to me? And if she says no, then she's a f***ing jerk.
Yeah, I think honestly doing something like that is a little bit better because if you don't know her at all, obviously it might scare her, especially if she's obviously in high school too, if you're both in the high school class. If you walk up to her out of like nowhere, she's not experienced with that probably, so it might feel like kind of weird. So yeah, finding some sort of thing for like some reason to have her number besides just like, hey, I've been watching you from across the room every day in second period and man, can we start dating? Like, you know, that's
also
that's
like
a lot.
I've seen your like Bitmoji and I've seen your username and that quick add button has been tempting me.
I've been watching it like I've been watching you and I'm ready to commit here.
Approach it with something school related and then, you know, go from there. Just again, just be normal. Talk to the girl like a normal person that like goes to the same high school that she does. Because it's very easy to overthink this stuff. Like it's easy for us to talk about it because we're like adults. If you're in high school, talk about high school. Like that's how I made my first and only girl space friend in college. I asked for a number because we're in the same class and now we've been friends forever. I know you want to be more than friends, but one thing at a time.
Never trust the ones who act super into you early on. Just from my experience, whenever I dated someone who acted super into me in the first month, they were using me. By this, I mean texting you nonstop, saying how cute you are, how much they miss you, seeing each other almost every day. These relationships, in quotes, only last 3 months max, and they'll ghost you or slowly ease you out of the picture. They are almost always using you as some sort of rebound or just due to boredom, loneliness. They don't actually see it going anywhere.
There's a honeymoon phase in every relationship. My now fiance, we're the same way when we first got together. We're always texting each other very like sweet and gross
Like
things.
gross, yeah.
Over complimenting each other.
You're so amazing.
Yeah, like all this other stuff. That's a very natural thing that happens in modern relationships. And if you're a good person and she's a good person and you both really like each other, then things might change over time. But if this is like a very frequent thing where people are slowly like phasing you out, like they're downsizing a company, that's literally, it's like your fault. Like you're not interesting enough, you're kind of boring, you're not that fun for whatever reason. It's almost always user error. Like it's not women on a mission to use you. I'm so tired of men saying that women are using them. It's so annoying. Yeah. It's like, I think she was just using me for like dinners. And like, I feel like she was just using me like as a rebound. And
it's like, I promise you, she has a kitchen, dude. Like,
yeah, like she can feed herself.
Yeah.
Like, I guess his perspective is he thinks that she's just like, she's an attention whore. Like she just wants your attention. And you win some, you lose some. You're going to have girls that just want attention. My fiance, when we met initially on Tinder, said that she was just looking for attention. And then we got together. It's okay that girls want attention. Everybody wants attention. You want attention. Just be more interesting. I don't know. Am I missing something?
What's interesting is that you read this like a man posted it. I thought it was a woman. I mean, we don't know.
Oh, like, I just assumed it was a man.
That's interesting. I assumed it was a woman because on the flip side, like I definitely do think that is a very legitimate fear that men have is for some reason, and maybe that's the case. I think what you're touching on, it's like a lot of women have found like a lot of empowerment in like the fact that they genuinely only go on dates like they want to go on, and that is something that is an expendable thing until someone is like meaningful to them. You know, it's really kind of been a bit of a reversal of like, you know, how we look at dating in a little bit in terms of like today versus like traditional. I read this as a woman saying it because with women, something we a lot of times will run into, I've not really run into this too much, but I know it does happen, and I've seen it happen with my female friends. Guys do this thing called love bombing. Sometimes girls do it too. Everyone is like fully capable of doing this. But it's where they act very, 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 very interested in you, and like they give you this like rush of attention, and so you develop an attachment to them very early on without knowing what kind of person this really is, because as you would know, you know, I'm sure the way you and Bailey like know each other when you first started dating became very different after a year and then today. Yeah, of course. And so it's very difficult to do that. And then what they kind of do is once they think, like, once you presented this really nice thing, it's like they're out. They go away. But at the same time, it's like, I think you're kind of right. You're kind of hitting on something. Like, there's definitely love bombing for, like, manipulation. But there's also, like, just naturally moving out of the honeymoon phase.
I think you might just be putting your best foot forward.
Right,
so, like, the way that I treated Spice when we first got together is the same. I don't want to say, like, I obviously wasn't saying the exact same things, but I was giving her the same amount of attention I would give to anybody that I'm trying to impress initially.
Exactly.
And you being, like, less overly complimentary or giving them a little bit less attention is just the natural development of getting to know somebody and knowing that that they may not need that all the time. The 2 or 3 girls that I quote unquote dated right before Spice, I was like very, very complimentative, and like I was doing all these things because I just wanted them to know that I was interested in them. That's just what you're supposed to do. You're just supposed to be overly nice and try to impress them. And then once you have them, you just be, you know, like a more chill version of yourself, like something that's closer to reality.
And see, and I think it's a lot of different things at play. I think there's a big like hookup culture we have today. And so in general, some people are like very insecure in some of these relationships, not because they're necessarily insecure themselves, but just because of how some relationships have just gone in the past. I know for me, for example, if somebody were to, and I'm not talking about like a normal gradual, like you fall into like a rhythm with somebody, and it's because it's not, whenever you first meet someone, it's going to be like all the great things,
sunshine
and everything. Yeah. And then you eventually adjust, but they themselves shouldn't change in terms of like the way maybe they speak with you, like how they're engaging with you.
Their behavior towards you.
Exactly. Yeah. I think what this is kind of talking about, and maybe it's not, but something I've just run into that's a little bit related to this is it's like a 180. It's a shift. Yeah. Because once you're hooked, now they don't got to do anything.
Right. They're like really completely not trying.
Right.
They're like super lax.
And you become kind of like they've got you, right?
Yeah. It's like going from a point where like, hey, I thought it would be really sweet if I take you here and then we go here and then we end the night with this. And it goes from that to, I don't know, whatever you want to do.
Or they don't, or you're like, do you want to hang out? And they're like, I don't know. Like something like that, you know, after you're all invested, you know?
Yeah.
So I think I think that's just something a lot of people are seeing, but I mean, that's complicated because there is like a difference between something like off the rails like that and then like just transitioning into what is like manageable and reasonable. I mean, if you think you're going to get into a relationship with somebody and they're going to every single weekend y'all are going to have this huge romantic date, I mean, maybe y'all are rich and that can work out and you have the time, but
This post is referring to like this guy getting in like actual relationships with people and then them changing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe you should maybe you should get to know them better before you commit to an exclusive relationship.
Exactly. There's that too.
Yeah. Sounds like it's, OP's fault.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Thank you all again for your continued support of the show. If you live in the Middle Tennessee area and would like to be my guest, well, you can be my guest. I'll come to you, I'll accommodate you, and we'll chop it up for as long as you'll have me. I have some very exciting stuff planned in the next couple days / weeks. We're only going up from here. Special thanks to Katie again for being on. If you're still here, I love you. I mean it. And I'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me in Derapy today. New sessions every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Follow me on Spotify. Follow me on Apple Podcast. Absolutely free. Give me 5 stars if you enjoyed. If you didn't like it, I mean, don't do anything. But, share it. Maybe somebody else will like it.
You better go crazy.
I'm Lil Dicky if he took rap serious. Black, what I am. Never been to Hogwarts, but I'm curious. Haters see the numbers and they furious. I'm a small man, got big plans, I'm Tyrion.
I drink and I know things.
One more Game of Thrones reference and you'll shut it off. Send me off to Castle Black, cause I swear to God, I want it all. All the smoke that I can handle, but I'm not a smoker. Gambling with these investments in my craft, but never played poker. I'm yelling like I'm Meek Mill, so you can hear me. Competition should fear me, I mean it so sincerely. I'm fighting fire with fire so I can stay hot like Baywatch. Just a matter of time till I blow like a Michael Bay plot.
You better stop.
But I will not, I simply don't know how. I am way too proud, I'm earning my crowd. I have to stay loud, busy on my grind. Get used to the sound.